You know, this guy changed the sport of international ice hockey, especially at the Olympics, because it broke the pro barrier because the double standard that allowed him to play for Austria at the 84 Olympics in Sarajevo was such that the IOC and the IAAF had to say, listen, we got to open up to the NHL because they determined that he played the WHA, but the WHA was not a major league, which was a double standard that we're still stinging from 41 years later. So today we're going to be talking about a very famous player, and I don't think it was called Richie Cunningham, but Rick Cunningham. Now, this Toronto Maple Leaf draft pick was selected by the Maple Leafs from Peterborough of the OHA in the 1971 NHL Amateur Draft. 5'11", 180 pounds. His Hockey News pre-draft ranking that year was 16. Now, taken 51st overall in the fourth round, his first two seasons in Peterborough were quite strong. 8 goals, 11 assists for 19 points. And 71, his breakout year, 17 goals, 42 assists for 59 points. He was an OHA All-Star second team in 71, but left the team to attend university from November 69 to January 1970. He also played Junior B with the Dixie Beehives of Western Ontario. Now, the native of Toronto was also selected by Chicago in the 1972 WHA General Player Draft, which was the first draft in WHA history in February 72. He also played for Team Canada squad that won the silver at the 72 World University Games in Lake Placid. He eventually signed a WHA contract with Ottawa on August 3rd, 72. He also played on the first Ottawa Nationals WHA team in League's inaugural 72-73 season and appeared in the first ever WHA game on October 11, 72 versus Alberta. Now, he's also a member of the Ottawa WHA team that relocated to Toronto after the team sailed to John Bassett on May 2nd, 73. He did have a major injury in his career, though, in 1976, a bad hip injury. He was also a member of the Toronto Toro squad that relocated to Birmingham, Alabama on June 30th, 76. Now, he's only one of 3 players to play for the same WHA franchise in Ottawa, Toronto, and Birmingham. Now, when he moved to Austria, he led the Austrian league in points and penalty minutes with 161 and 58 points with Salzburg in 78. He led the Austrian league with 110 minutes for Vienna in 79 and led that association with 103 penalty minutes for Vienna in 1980. He was named to the IIHF World Championship Pool B All-Star squad with host nation Austria in 82. He also led the Austrian league in assists with Lustano in 85. He did qualify for Austrian citizenship while playing pro in Austria from 77 to 86. He retired in 86 with the Austrian league record for career assists. Now, his post-draft teams included Trent of the OUAA, Ottawa, Toronto, and Birmingham of the WHA, the Buffalo Norsemen of the NHL, and Salzburg, Vienna, Villach, Kapfenberg, and Lustana in Austria. He also attended Trent University in Peterborough, Ontario. Now, he eventually opened a sporting goods business during his playing days in Austria, where his stores became that nation's exclusive dealer of Bauer and Cooper hockey products. He eventually moved to Barbados after his retirement and did some work as an honorary ambassador for Austria. He later moved to New Zealand and spent the early 2000s living on a boat, which was consistent with his history of living life to the fullest. During his years in Villach, Austria, as one of the highest paid hockey players in the country, he had lived on a mountainside farm, and after retirement, he and his wife sailed their boat around the world. Well deserved. Now, getting to the controversy. At age 32, Cunningham represented Austria in the 84 Olympics at Sarajevo. However, he played only after weathering a controversy or his eligibility for the Games. Prior to the Olympics, both the Americans and Finns protested Team Austria's inclusion of Cunningham, as well as some players on the Italian and Canadian squads, because he and those others had played Major League Pro Hockey in North America. I think the limit to NHL games had to be like 11. His amateur status became the subject of debate, but the International Olympic Committee ruled that only players who had played the NHL were ineligible for the Olympics. Since Cunningham's experience had come to the defunct WHA, he was deemed eligible. Okay. The Cunningham controversy and ruling helped to expose the IOC and IIHF's double standard on amateurism in the Olympics. The IOC was effectively ruling that the former WHA had not been a major league, even though many of its players had left the NHL for the WHA so they could earn more money. Since the Olympics at the time were supposed to be for amateurs only, Bullshit. The inclusion of a player who had been well paid in a North American Major League added to the outcry involving Soviet bloc athletes whose living expenses were fully subsidized by their governments. But in next Olympics at Calgary in '88, the strict IOC rules had been relaxed, and even former NHL players were allowed to play, and of course, Canada still didn't win a medal. That was only till 2002. So the rough stats, after his draft by Toronto, he had, in the first year with Peterborough, he had 23 points in 54 games, my apologies, and 19 points in 23 contests in 1970. Now, with the Nationals, his first year, he helped into the postseason. He had 41 points in 48 games. With the Toros, he led them to 2 straight playoff appearances with 21 points in 74, 2 goals, and 25 points and 7 goals in 75. With the Buffalo Norsemen, he also played 1 game in the NHL, scoring his only goal in the minors. With the Toros in 76, 5 goals, 14 assists for 19 points. With Birmingham in 77, 8 assists in 63 games. And the best season he had for a lot of people was his first season in Vienna, 28 goals, 45 assists for 73 points. And on the international for Vienna, he had 59 points in 32 games in 81. Now, WHA totals, 323 games played, 458 big minutes and penalties, 23 counters, 91 assists. In the postseason, 7 points in 21 games, 33 minutes and penalties. Now, as a youth, he played in the 1963 Quebec International Pee Wee Hockey Tournament with the Toronto Shopsies minor ice hockey team. And again, his time with Austria was very significant because I don't know if somebody could tell me who was captain over there, but a very solid player. Now, a lot of people now recognize Austria as a hockey hotbed, but back then I think it basically went over for the money. Now, last I checked, the word Cunningham is not Austrian. I think it's Irish-Scottish. I could be wrong here, but, you know, if an Irish-Austrian scores in a game, again, Cunningham, has Irish origins and is derived from the Gaelic name Cunningham. It means descendant of the chief. The name has been prominent in Irish records since the 12th centuries. The name Cunningham symbolized the lineage of those who descended from their revered leaders. Notable people within the surname Cunningham was John Cunningham, the Irish actor, playwright, and poet, and Timothy Cunningham, the barrister of Gray's Inn and the benefactor of Royal Irish Academy. Again, it's most commonly found in Ireland, especially the Donegal, Northeast, and West regions. Outside of Ireland, the surname is most popular in Scotland, followed by Austria, New Zealand, of course, U.S. and Canada. Now, other uses of the names, the name Cunningham is also used as a boy's name, meaning village of the milk pail, which probably has to do with a lot of dairy production. So, gives new term to lunch pail players, doesn't it? So, ladies and gentlemen, Rick Cunningham, a part of world hockey and Canadian hockey history, but there was no mention if the Maple Leafs were going to try to get him back. But you knew he was going to play with Toronto team. But saying that the WHA was not a major league, boys, that's a big misnomer. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing here with our WHA podcast, let us know in a like, comment, subscribe, or share.